This is Joji, and this is my mom Virginia, and this is another journal, another one of our knitting journals. Today is Tuesday, January 15, 2019, and it's a very rainy day here. It's summertime, but it's been grey all day, and we thought that it would be too dark to record, but actually we are facing a window that leads to the outside, so it's quite bright. I think the light is okay. I don't think it's too dark. So we decided to record and tell you what we have been working on. I have to say that my self-esteem has been a bit down lately, because everyone is asking for my mom and everyone wants my mother back in the podcast. So it makes me wonder whether they actually watch my podcast because they want to watch me or because they want to watch you. But anyway, because I am a very generous person, I asked my mother to be part of the podcast again, to be part of the journal. So how are you doing today?
Fine. It looks like an autumn day.
Yes.
I like this weather too. Sun is fine. It's very nice to be in the sun, but I prefer autumn sun.
Yes, I know.
It's more romantic.
It is more romantic. We don't get to see very cloudy days, a lot of very cloudy days around here. So it's been a very intense week. I have been crafting a lot, and I was going to record a journal over the weekend, but over the weekend there were some really important conversations happening in social media about a subject that it's very important to read about, and I thought that it was not the right place to record something that it's all about happiness and the joy of crafting. So I gave myself a couple of days, and if you are interested to read and to say whatever you need to say about this subject, I think that in my books everyone has the right to have a voice. There are some really safe threads going on right now on Ravelry where everyone can talk and everyone can share their opinion. So I think that's a good place to read and to share. This journal, however, focuses on the crafting and the joy of crafting. So Mom and I decided to share all of that with you, hoping that it will bring you joy and it will make you smile, laugh, yes. So we have been crafting together a lot this week. We are going to start by the things that we are knitting. Do you want to start?
Maybe this is after a long time abstinence. I have my sleeves.
Mom is knitting sleeves for me again. For those of you, tuning in for the journal for the first time, I have referred to Mom many times as my sleeve master or my sleeve slave. And the truth is that Mom enjoys working on projects that don't require a lot of concentration, that don't require her to be reading charts or counting rows all the time. So she truly enjoys knitting my sleeves to finish my sweaters. Yes. Because I was sort of taking it easy after Barcelona trip in November, because I was sort of trying not to give myself too much work in a very busy end of the year, I was not giving Mom anything to help me with, and I could see that Mom was sort of sad She was very, very sad. She was like, what am I going to need now? I don't have anything to help you with. And she was walking with this silent pain or sorrow. I could see in her face that she was really desperate for me to give her some sleeves.
I am not good to help you.
She was like, I cannot help you enough. You're not giving me anything to do. No, but truly what I did was, after I recorded last journal, I pushed and finished the body for the Woolfolk cardigan that I showed you last journal. And I asked Mom if she wanted to knit the sleeves, and she said, yes, I have abstinence of sleeves. So we mean abstinence, I don't know if it's the same word. When we say abstinence, we refer to withdrawal syndrome from sleeves. Abstinencia. Yeah. I think in English you say withdrawal syndrome, but I'm not sure. I don't think you say abstinence, but you probably understood what we meant. Anyway, this is the cardigan that Mom is working on right now. I showed you this work in progress last week, but if you remember, I had some straight needles here in the bottom. I was probably about this far, and then I pushed through and I finished the body, and I even made the rib. This is another thing that you usually help me with.
I saw it. I was disappointed.
Because I have said many times that my ribbing is very uneven, and Mom is the tidiest rib knitter I know. So yes, but I really wanted to finish it so that when you came, you would have the sleeves to work on. So I'm going to try it on because I'm the recipient of this project that Mom is working on. Let's see. So you can see I'm completely tangled. You can see the lace panel here in the front. It's not short or long. It's like just a nice hip length. It has very subtle waist shaping, and it doesn't require any finishing because you work the button bands as you make progress. So the buttonholes are on this side. They are very tiny, but you can see them there. They are meant for really tiny, delicate buttons. And now Mom is making the sleeves. This is a raglan sleeve pullover, so all we did was to pick up the stitches that were on hold here for the sleeves, and then just knitting the round. The yarn that we are using for this new design is Woolfolk Tynd. I think you pronounce it sort of like that. It's spelled T-Y-N-D, so Tynd. And the colorway, I think it's colorway 5, which is a very dark ash gray, almost black. Mom has a hard time knitting black yarn, of course, as most people of some age. I would say that they have difficulties seeing black yarns. I have to say that me too. When I was working on it at night without any light, it was hard for me too.
I could say that everybody has difficulties with dark colors.
Yes, but for older people it gets super challenging. So Mom sits underneath a lamp that we have in the living room, and also it's just a stockinette stitch design, so she doesn't have to see whether she has to work a pearl or a lace or a cable or anything. It's just stockinette stitch in the round, but I try not to give her dark colored designs so that she doesn't struggle with seeing the stitches. but well, it was the only thing that I had.
Esto no hubiera podido hacer.
Right, she says she couldn't possibly have made the lace front bands. For anyone who's interested, because I think that some of you will ask, what we're drinking is Argentine mate, our traditional drink. Mom and I like to drink mate socially, so whenever we're together we will probably drink mate, but if we are on our own, then we never make mate just for ourselves, very rarely.
Yeah. As soon as I come here, we say, should we take some mate?
We take some mate? And then we drink that. And if you don't know how to make it, then you can Google. Mate is spelled M-A-T-E, and you will find it very easily. Do you have another work in progress?
Yes, I have. You know this knitting. You know this knitting.
I don't know.
Yes,
I remember this project bag that I had made for you. Is this a work in progress?
It is an almost finished progress.
Okay.
Project.
These are the socks.
Yeah.
And what had happened with these socks?
Nothing.
Oh, you did. You hadn't done. You hadn't done the heel turn.
Exactly.
Okay. And what does this mean?
¿Cómo?
What does this mean? Why are these?
We have to finish it.
Why are these stitches still waiting here?
Not to make a mistake.
How long have you had this project?
Oh,
like
some
this?
A couple of months.
I think I have a new job for today. Okay, so these were some socks that Mom was making, and they are almost finished, so they are technically not a finished object. And she made them with Uruguayan yarn that is no longer available, called Punta Yarns. And then, did you make them bottom up, like toe up, or cuff down?
No, de arriba para abajo.
From the cuff down, yes. And then, right, of course. My mom needs to explain to me that here is where I finished them, so they are cuff down. And then she made a ribbed pattern that is 3 purl stitches, or 2? 3 purl stitches and 1 twisted knit. So purl 3, knit through the back loop all around. Okay.
Elástico que está parejito.
She wants to show off her very tidy ribbing because she knows I cannot make it this nice. Okay, let's leave these here. I'm gonna graph them now when we finish. What else do you have in progress?
No, I haven't.
Yes, Julie's wrap.
Yes, I have.
You didn't bring it?
Yeah. Y de paso abro.
Do you want me to go? Do you want to go get it?
Yeah.
Okay, I will start talking about one of my projects while you go.
Okay.
Okay, I have only 2 works in progress other than the design that Mom is working on, because I have been working a lot on the website for our upcoming book, Interpretations 6. And so Vera is right now working on, she did all the graphic design and the layout for the book itself, for the PDF. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the redesign for the website, so that it's a bit more modern, and also I want to give it a new look. We have a new logo coming up for Interpretation 6, and so I've been working on that. A lot of my working time has been devoted to that, so I haven't been creating many new designs, but I have 2 socks in progress. The first one, I don't think I'm going to write this pattern. I am making it up, but I don't particularly love, I don't really love the way it's turning out. I love the idea, but probably I should have worked it differently. So if I am going to write it, I'm probably going to get another yarn, another gradient yarn, and I'm going to make it a bit differently. So this one, as it is probably not going to become a pattern, but maybe a variation of this one day will. So I'm making a pair of socks that I started just for fun, using a ball of yarn that I showed you when I came back from Barcelona. I had purchased, let me see if I can, it's blowing up really bad. Oh, there you can see the colors better. I bought this at Barcelona Knits Festival. This yarn, it's, I lost the tag, but it's, I'm going to add it to the show notes underneath. The dyer is Hungarian, I'm almost sure, and it's called Bilum, and there is a colorway number. I don't think there's a colorway name, and the composition of the yarn, they sell yarns in these cakes, and they have different blends, like they have cashmere blends and silk blends and other blends, and this was a merino nylon blend. I think it was 75 or 80-20.
The yarn is beautiful.
Yes, and it's gorgeous to work with,
yeah.
The base. I'm curious to see whether it actually makes two identical pair of socks. You are supposed to get the other strand from the inside and start the other sock, and then you get two matching pairs of socks. But the base, the sock base from this company so far is really beautiful. It doesn't split, it's very soft, so I'm really enjoying it. I just wish I had started the design differently, but I'm too stubborn.
Let me see.
To start over. You guys,
it's very nice.
I cannot frog it. I don't.
Do you want me to frog it?
No, I don't want you to frog my sock.
Look, I love the yarn, but I don't like the colors.
You don't like the colors?
No.
Well, I have to say that this is not a color that I would have picked. They didn't have a lot of color options. The other ball that I got is a gradient in black to white, or grey to white, or grey to pale grey, and I like that one a lot. And I wanted to get a different color. I wanted to get a second color, so I picked this one. I'm super happy with the color, even though it's not a color that I would wear. I think that I'm going to finish this.
I love it in the ball.
Yes, and I think I'm going to finish this, and I'm going to give it away to one of my friends, and I think this will make a really nice gift, especially for someone who doesn't knit or someone who hasn't seen gradient yarn before. But it is not a color, I agree, it is not a color that we would wear. I love it because you can trust our mom to give you her honest opinion about stuff. I really think that color is not nice.
Look, I wear any color.
Yes, mom doesn't have any problems but wearing all the colors in the rainbow in one single outfit.
But if you ask me, I don't like this combination.
Yes, it's a nice combination, I would say, especially if you're knitting for a little girl. I actually really like it, but not for me. Yeah. It starts with an aqua green that is blowing up, but it's very delicate, and then it moves to the pink. And my idea was, I started with this texture, and then I thought, oh, I'm going to make the texture a bit heavier or denser. And then it got denser and denser. And probably what I should have done is make the texture lighter and lighter and finish with a stockinette stitch. But that is not what I did, and it's not probably what's going to happen with these socks, because I'm known for not frogging much. So I'm probably going to just finish these, and maybe one day I will find my way another gradient yarn, and I will design my gradient texture idea together with a gradient color. What do you think?
Yes, I think you always find anybody to give it as a present.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always like to make things especially to give them away.
Yeah.
So yes,
it
makes me very happy. This is living inside this little bag that I don't know if I showed you guys this bag. This is a nice gift that I received from my friend Julie. It doesn't come with this, how do you call this, a clasp. It comes like this, and it has a round zipper, and it's a linen bag on both sides, so it's nice linen on the outside, but also maybe it's just cotton in the inside. But it's made by a really interesting company called R&D and Freedom Acts, and it's made by women in situation of risk. I think that they are women recovering from acts of violence. I wouldn't be so sure about that, but I know it's a really nice social cause.
¿Mujeres que qué?
Víctimas de violencia, me parece. Sorry if I got it wrong. I think that's what I remember, at least. And it has a nice detail where it tells you who the maker is, and has a hashtag look closer. So yeah, this is a good, nice project for a good cause. Mm-hmm. It's small, so what I do is I add this snap, or whatever you call these things, and then I hook it to my crossbody bag or my backpack or whatever I'm carrying, so I can carry my socks.
My socks bag is nice. This one.
Your project bag. If you didn't watch that journal, I made Mom this project bag a while ago, and I hated every moment of making it, and I thought it had turned out super bad, but then Mom really liked it, and she wears it a lot, so that also makes me happy. So that's my first sock.
You were talking about grading. You were talking about grading with your socks.
Graduation or fading. Yeah. Yes, fading.
So I remembered my one.
Mom is making a very, very special version of Julie's wrap. So we had at home in our shared stash, which is my stash where Mom knits from, we had a beautiful set of, look, right. We had a beautiful set of 5 skeins of black Trillium fibers yarn that I received as a gift many years ago. I'm going to say 4 years ago, when people were using gradients, but we weren't still fading so much. So fading wasn't the rage. We were into gradients and sets of mini skeins and bigger skein sets. And yes, so I received this gift, this very special gift. I was visiting Portland, Oregon, teaching, and the dyer of black trillium fibers, she came and we met, and she was super sweet, and she gifted me a set of 5 skeins, and yes, I brought it home, and I was for a long time I was scared that using 5 skeins of yarn for a design, for a wrap or shawl design, was asking knitters to buy too much yarn. So I didn't want them to commit to that, so I kept like postponing using this yarn for a while, and I was very conscious that, you know, if you had to buy a 5 skein set, then you would have to invest so much money, and everyone can do that. But then you know, the Find Your Fate shawl came out by Andrea Maury, and everyone was, you know, using larger skeins of yarn, larger sets of yarn, and then I came up with the Starting Point shawl without even realizing that I was literally asking people to get 5 skeins of yarn for a project, and then Fading Point. So at some point I realized, like, okay, yeah, it's it's what we're doing now.
It's possible.
We're using 4 or 5 skeins to make larger items. So a while ago, Mom was interested in testing or making a sample of Julie's wrap, the pattern that I showed you last week. And she didn't know what to use, and I didn't have a lot of 4 skein sets that I could give to her. And suddenly I saw this set, this 5 skein set, and I told her, you know what, it would be great if you made this, and then we can photograph it so that people can see how you used a 5 skein fade set to create Julie's wrap, using all the colors in the body and then the border. So that is what she's doing. Of course, this sample is for her, but we're gonna take nice photos when it's done. So this is the darker color, and as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors, and then it starts getting darker towards the other end. And then she picked up the stitches with the darker color, and then she's making a progression towards the lighter color. And you're only going to use probably 2 colors for the border.
I think.
Yes. So this is really interesting. The yarn is really nice. It's a mix of merino and silk. And yes, she seems to be enjoying it.
Es muy linda, es muy linda. El único problema es el de los
The only problem, she says, is that sometimes it gets snagged. There's this fiber that contains the silk, and because we are moving around here at the summer house, sometimes it gets snagged with your, I don't know, with anything, but
con un teléfono que se te cae al piso.
How can you snag your knitting with your phone?
Cuando se te cae al piso se te rompe la carcasa.
Oh, okay. She says she dropped her phone and broke her case, and now her case gets snagged in her knitting all the time. Yes, maybe we need to tape your case. Ponerle cinta.
Sí.
So that it doesn't get snagged anymore. Para que no se enganche más.
Así.
So, Julie's wrap by Mom
is nearly finished.
It's nearly finished. That's what she thinks. She still has to go through the bubble edge, which will take forever.
I know.
I'm so mean. And you need to do the bubbles. You are not allowed to bind off without the bubbles. No, you're not allowed.
No. I was reading about the bubbles, and I think they are not easy to do, but the first one, so...
No, they are not difficult, they are just time-consuming. I think that some people get frustrated because they get to that point and they think they're just going to bind off. But in the pattern, I wrote that you need to have at least 40 grams of yarn to bind off, which means that you have to still need almost half a skein of yarn as bubbles. So you have some time you have a long way to go by the time you get to the bubbles.
Someday I will finish it.
Yes, and it will be amazing.
After some sleeves.
Yes. So my other work in progress is another pair of socks, and this pair is actually a new design that I'm working on. And I have decided that this year I'm going to work on a book. I'm going to do it properly, and I made a plan. And
are you going to make your book?
My own book. I'm of course going to publish interpretations. This year is coming in March, but I also really want to work on a personal project. I don't know when that's going to happen, but
are you going to use other colors?
Other than what? Other than gray?
Black and white.
I hope so. There are other colors that I really like ochre, yellow, mustard,
yellow,
green. I'm really into green.
No, you love yellow.
I love yellow. I have always liked yellow. One of my first designs was yellow also. And yes, I have some color ideas in mind. Mm-hmm. I have also been really into brick or that burnt orange color. So I don't know.
Like this?
Yes, a bit redder than that. I don't have anything like the cancel that I got. Careful with the table. No, different color. So yes, it's going to have a lot of gray. It's going to have some mustard and caramel and yellow, and I'm going to feel very comfortable with those colors. But I want to create something that I want to work on. Sorry. Some design ideas that I've had in my mind for a very long time, and they always keep being pushed to the back because I have to publish. So these designs that I'm going to identify as book designs, I'm committing to keeping them for the book. So as of 2019, whatever I'm going to say, wherever you hear me say this is a book design, it's not going to come out until a book comes out, probably in 2020. So because I'm still trying not to design something too complicated, I decided to start with a pair of socks that I've been wanting to make for a long time. So these are texture lace socks, and I'm using 2 colors of Rhichard Devrieze PEPPINO. I don't have any of the tags, but Rhichard Devrieze is a Canadian dyer that I met when I went to Canada. He's from the Toronto area, and he makes yarn, beautiful yarn, but I'm going to say that his specialty is speckled dyed colorways, and he allowed me to pick some of his yarn when we met, and I decided to get these 2 colors because I thought they would look really sweet together. So the yarn comes in 50 gram skeins. This is my first skein of 50 grams, and I haven't weighed it, so I don't know if for a pair of socks it will be enough with just 1 skein of the main color, or you will need 2 skeins of the main color, and then you will need 1 skein of the contrasting color. So as you can see, I already changed colors here, and the toes are going to be in the contrasting color. I am having a lot of fun knitting socks again. I hadn't enjoyed knitting socks as this in a long time. So it's a very easy pattern, and then you have some garter stripes. I really enjoyed this, and of course a twisted rib cuff. I think that when I work twisted rib, my ribbing is slightly more even than when I work regular rib.
Con el misma aguja, ¿no? Con el mismo
with the same, yes, with the same needle. So these are being knit on 2.25 millimeter needles, and I'm using 64 stitches. And and the colorways are Trembling Aspens is the ochre with speckles, and Charcoal is the charcoal. And this is going to be a sock design for my book, upcoming book. Yes, so those are my works in progress at the moment.
Knitting progress.
Yes.
Knitting.
And do you have any finished objects?
Míos?
Yes.
No, not here. No traje el gorro.
Oh, okay. So next time.
Yeah.
Next time we can show. Mom finished a beanie, and I thought it was here, but
no, lo llevé la vez pasada.
You didn't bring it? Are you sure? Are you not wanting to show me your hat?
No, en serio.
Okay, so now I would like to show you some things that have come to me by different means over the last month or so. I don't think I showed you any new acquisitions during the last journal, so I have a lot to share, new things that are now at home. One of the first and nicest things is this book that I ordered on Amazon, and that I'm really proud to be sharing here in my journal, because it's my friend Helen's new and first book. Helen has been my friend for a long time. We met in 2014 when we both made a design for a booklet for a festival called Unwind Brighton. So our designs were featured in the same booklet, and that sort of let us start conversations, and we started chatting, and Helen has always been super generous with her time. Helen has had the generosity of reviewing all of my books in her audio podcast. For those who don't know who Helen Stewart is, she has an audio podcast called Curious Handmade, and it's a beautiful podcast. She has a very calm voice, and it's really nice to hear what Helen is up to and what she's going on, what she's working on, how she faces her daily or her weekly tasks, and how she balances home and work, and how she stays healthy. And Helen is a very relatable person, and a really good designer. And I'm not just saying that because she's my friend. I think Helen's strength is that she knows what her style is, she knows what her knitters want to make, and she's very creative. She writes very quickly, very good patterns, and so yes, I like following Helen's work all the time also, just not because she's my friend. And yes.
And you can say that she's a very lovely person.
Yes.
I know her.
Yes. Mom was part of Helen's retreat when we went to Bath last May. You probably heard of that trip that we made together. And Helen invited my mother. She treated my mother to the retreat as a special guest. So she's a very, very fantastic person. So at the end of last year, you all know that I was drowning in my work and everything that was going on in my house, and I received this message from Helen reaching out to her friends and podcasters and letting us know that she was going to publish a book and asking us if we could help her proofread and give her our opinion. And I regret to say that I was not able to take a look at the book at the time. I was in Barcelona, and I wish I had been more useful to Helen, but time went by. I couldn't send her my feedback, and I don't know how it happened that it all went by so quickly that I saw Helen's book being featured on Amazon. And I decided that I would get a copy to show you all here in the journal what the book is about. So this is my beautiful friend Helen, and you can read her podcast here, Curious and Made. And this book is called The Shawl Society, Season 1. Every year Helen has these clubs where people subscribe to a certain amount of shawl designs, and then they get patterns that they have never seen before, that they are a surprise. So what Helen did was she compiled the first season of that yarn club, and she put all these designs together as a book. So you can find the Talisman shawl was the first one. Let me see if I can find a nice photo without showing you the pattern. I'm going to do this really quickly. If you have never knit from Helen's designs, she writes using this system that you see there. I don't want to give the patterns away, but Helen writes spreadsheets with the row number and then the instruction for that row. And then there's another column where she tells you the total stitches that you should have and how much yarn you should have used already. So she will tell you, for example, that on row 76, let me show you row 76, so you don't even know what pattern it is, but row 76 is a wrong side row. You should have 227 stitches and need 25% of your shawl.
It's incredible.
I think it's amazing. This is a system that Helen has. I don't know if she was the first one that used this system, but to me this is Helen's system. She's used it for all of her designs, so I think she's very renowned for that. And let's see, there's this crescent shape shawl. Then we have the Asana shawl, is another crescent. I'm trying to see if there's another different shape. This is a triangular shawl, I think, because of, you can see the central spine. It's called the quill shawl. Aurora, with this slip stitches pattern. All of them have the charts for you to follow. Sonder shawl, which is more like a longer triangle that you wear almost as a wrap. There you go, with tutorials on how to make tassels. Yes. then techniques, how to block a shawl, how to choose yarn. Then there's a whole section about the featured yarns that she used for all of her designs. And I love this. There's a space for you to, you know, make all the annotations that you need, like what changes you made and things like that. She dedicates the book to her family, and it's a beautiful book. So I'm going to add a link for you to go check out Helen's book on Amazon. That's not going to be an affiliate link because I believe that Helen deserves all the credit for that. So I hope that you take a look and bring Helen to your bookshelves. So that's the first thing that I received. Next, I have two very special gifts, and these involve receiving something in the mail. So I have told you guys before that I cannot receive any mail here in Argentina, and I still can't. But there are two very special ladies who didn't remember that I couldn't get any mail, and they decided to send a box with a very special present inside. Those two ladies are Tracie and Jodi from the Grocery Girls. I was asked for an address so that they could send me something for Christmas, which I assumed would be a card. And then some days after Christmas, Jodi asked me if I knew if something had come for me, something had arrived. And I said no, nothing had arrived and I cannot receive mail. And then she said, well, we sent a package. So that very same day, I received, well, actually not me, but my friend Ale, who we sometimes get stuff delivered to. My friend Ale received a telegram saying that there was a box stopped at customs for me and that we need to show up to get that box out of customs. So this is a very funny story. I didn't want Tracie and Jodi to know what happens when you get a parcel, but it was kind of funny, so I shared the whole day with them. Because of course, if Tracie and Jodi sent something, then I was going to go get it. But it's very hard to get something out of the mail. So first of all, we are 2 hours away from the customs office. You have to go to the official, like the government.
Y la zona está de reparaciones.
Yes. So you have to go to the harbor area where ships come from with the containers with stuff, like to the official imports office of your country to get that parcel. And the area is under construction, so we really couldn't park anywhere. Eventually, Ali and I parked somewhere else. We took a taxi to the post office, customs, whatever. And all the papers were wrong. The mail had my wrong name on the form, so they didn't want to acknowledge that I was there. And then when they realized that my friend Alice's name was there and that actually she could get the parcel out, then they decided to to acknowledge that they had received the parcel. Up to here, we spent 3 hours in the office, and then we had to wait 3 hours more to access the office so that they could open the box. When we opened the box, we had to look at the content. Then we had to go out of the office and into our tax system and pay for the tax for whatever was inside the box. Then stand in line again for another few hours, and then pay the tax, and then show them that we had paid the tax, and then they would give us the contents. So after about 5 hours at the customs office and finally being able to access the box, the officer told us, okay, now you can open the box, and whatever is inside, you need to go outside, declare, pay, and come back. Even if it's a gift, guys. It doesn't matter if you send it with a card that says, here, this is your birthday present, I got this for you. You still have to pay for the tax in Argentina.
You must say that normally people is waiting for some electronics or something like that.
Some people who really depend on this for business, and it's worth for them to spend a day during a working day, they do all of this paperwork. But for us, it really truly takes a whole day and maybe 2, because you need to come back the other day with the taxes paid. So it's really not feasible for us. So I'm opening the box thinking, oh, what did they send and how am I going to declare this? First thing that happens is I open the box and a ton of glitter comes out of the box. So, sorry, I'm lying. First, I open the box and inside the box there's 2 different packages wrapped in this glittery wrapping paper with bows and pom-poms. So Ale and I look at the box and then we look at the officer and we say, like, we need to open those too. He says, yes, you need to open everything and see what the content is. So we start in the office unwrapping the gifts, and glitter starts spreading all over the customs office, and there are bows and pom-poms everywhere. And this is what was inside the box. My Christmas gifts from the grocery girls. So this is a Christmas stocking that arrived too late for our Christmas, but that we will proudly display next year at the summer house. Knit by Tracie with a beautiful card and Christmas wishes.
Está precioso.
It is gorgeous. Thank you, Tracie. You are amazing, and it made us all cry. I think that Tracie must have used Malabrigo Rasta for this.
It seems.
I don't think that it said so, but I'm pretty sure that that's what this is. And then the most glittery wrapped present was this incredible throw. I'm probably making everyone super jealous right now, but what can I do? Apparently they like me. So this is the most amazing throw or afghan or blanket you can imagine. This was made by my dear friend Jodi, who's here in my heart all the time, and she did a patchwork composition of all of her fabric designs, and this material is like a plush material, or a
very soft,
super soft, and then there's this. I don't know how to describe this, but we are all crazy about this blanket. This arrived on a day that was probably super the hottest day we've had in a long time, and still Ali and I were wrapping ourselves in the blanket and celebrating, and we were all so happy. Turns out that when I get everything out of the box and all the glitter comes out, and the cards and the pom-poms and the ribbons and the bows, and this beauty and this sock, I hold this up and I ask the officer, like, how do I declare these goods? What are they? Like, how do I pay taxes for this? And mind you, this was just in between Christmas and New Year's Eve. So I look at him like, what do I do? And he says, you can go. Merry Christmas. So Ali and I were like celebrating everyone and wishing everyone a happy Christmas and a happy New Year, and we were being loud. And We were being very Argentine.
No, Ale is very expressive.
Yes, Ale is joy all the time. So this was a huge surprise. It made me miss my grocery girls friends more than I already did. It makes me very sad to have such dear friends that are so far.
They can be closer than...
Yes, Mom has a t-shirt that says, "You're too close." It's a personal space protective t-shirt, but mind you, my mother is very... She likes to touch you and everything, so I think she didn't realize what her t-shirt said when she picked it. Anyway, to close this story, yes, it's beautiful to have friends all over the world, but sometimes it's hard not to be able to be around them more often, or even receive and be able to exchange things with my friends.
What about your gifts? You can send them.
Sorry, if you...
Yours.
Yes. I can send gifts. Yeah. Yes.
There's no problem to send.
No. I send out prices. I send out samples whenever I'm knitting something for a magazine. Yeah. It's not a problem to send things outside Argentina, but you cannot receive anything. Yes. So that's actually very terrible. So those are my beautiful gifts from the grocery girls. And then last week I received a very special guest here at home. My friend Cecilia, she is the head behind Manos del Uruguay Yarns, and she lives in Montevideo, Uruguay. We had been chatting on WhatsApp, and we always ask each other how to handle things about this or that, because as South American, as Latin American, sometimes we are not completely aware of everything that's going on in the world, so we like to support each other as Latin American makers. Of course, she has a whole company behind her. If you have never heard of Manos del Uruguay Yarns, they are a big company located in Montevideo, and what they do is they handle co-ops where women who cannot find job easily, they work at co-ops dyeing their yarns, and they make sure that these women are well taken care of. They do a lot of social work. They are a non-profit company, so it's really interesting to read about their work. I can guarantee that Manos is all about the co-ops. Actually, I had to tell Ceci, like, I didn't know that you were the person behind the company's choices and the company's yarns, and because they always want to bring forward the people who actually make the yarn, and these people are the dyers in the co-ops. Anyway, Ceci likes to brainstorm sometimes, and so I invited her to come to our summer house. So she came from Uruguay. It's kind of a long trip, so she stayed overnight, and we spent a long time sharing our ideas and our plans, and she brought a lot of yarns with her. Some of them I plan to use for my book, and some of them also will be part of my stash. So probably my favorite thing that she brought is a big batch, a coat quantity, as I always say. My friend Diane teases me on that, but actually I do say a coat quantity of yarn, because one thing is a sweater quantity. You would say a sweater quantity is 5 skeins of this, but then a coat quantity is at least 8. So she brought a coat quantity of their merino singles called Maxima. This is a non-superwash yarn, extremely soft, like seriously buttery soft. and it's 100% extra fine merino, worsted weight, 219 yards in 100 grams. And the colorway is called Leo or Leo. Leo. And then she brought the same base and in a different color, which I really like. It's pink, which it has to be a very special pink for me to wear, but this one is sort of like a warmer shade of pink.
It has a bit of orange.
Yes, and it's called Peach Blossom because it's a
peach.
bit peachy.
Yes.
So she also brought a big quantity of this for me to work with, and this is super nice. I can see this as a cable pullover, draped cabled pullover. This color I really like. I think it suits me well. About colors that suit me, I often find that there are companies that I cannot find many colors that will suit a dark-haired lady. It's sometimes hard for me to wear pink and all the pastels and all the light shades of yarn with speckles, and I call them blonde colors. And then there are certain companies that I say, oh, they make great brunette colors. And I do think that it has to do a lot with the personality of the dyer and, of course, the environment they have around, and mostly the feedback that they get from their customers, right? So if what I sell the most are blonde colors, of course I'm going to make more blonde colors, but then when I find a dyer that has good brunette colors, then I like to follow that dyer because I cannot wear all the colors. So I think actually this is a really good brunette.
It's intense.
Color. It's intense. It's green. It's dark, but I think there's a lot of saturation in this green. And this base has silk. That's why it's so shiny. So I'm thinking that even though the silk will sort of make the cables drape, because it has the silk, you can actually see the texture of the cables because the silk will deviate the light in a certain direction. I don't know. Those are the thoughts that I get when I get new yarn. Get so excited. This green color is called... It doesn't have a color name. I'm sure that if you look at Manos page, you will find it because their color cards are not huge. So this is their silk blend. And this is 70% merino, 30% silk. And they are 50 gram skeins, but I have a feeling that this might be, these skeins that Ceci brought, I have a feeling that they might be 100 grams, but the regular skeins are 50 grams. And the other thing that Ceci brought is she told me that they are developing a new yarn called, it's a fingering weight yarn. She brought 2 skeins of it. So here it is. It's fingering weight single ply merino, super nice, super wash. And she didn't have a name for it, but then she told us that they were thinking of calling it Alma, which means soul, and Ale and I really like that name, so I think that they are adopting that name. So this is Manos' new base, Alma, and of course I had to keep the dark gray because dark gray, and she also brought some shade cards for me to see what colors they are developing for this yarn. Like, I would take any of these any moment. This I like, but I will probably struggle wearing the turquoise, and maybe these two. I would find them difficult to wear with my wardrobe. This is a color that I think looks good on everyone, coral. But all of these colors are super good. And one thing that I noticed is that, see how most of the colors, yes, that's the one I kept. See how most of the colors combine with each other. You could pick 2 or 3 in any of these, and you would probably get a nice combination. So I'm fortunate that she lives, that they are so close to me here in South America, that I get to see how a product is developed, and I get to share with you all of these sneak peeks before the product is out. It's very fun and exciting. So that's all for knitting today. I hope it wasn't too much. And now we have a small section for sewing. Do you want to be my model today?
Of course I will.
So when I drove Ceci back to the ferry station last week, I decided to go fabric shopping, and I bought some fabrics that I'm going to show you soon. And one of the things that I wanted to make most was a pair of shorts. I talked about this on my post on Instagram, but in case you don't follow that, I wear shorts a lot during the summer, and not because I think they are a flattering item of garment, but because it's very hot here and dresses are more comfortable and more flattering. But then whenever I'm sitting and I want to put my feet up over the table or over another chair, then I have to be very careful not to flash everyone when I'm wearing a dress or a skirt. Therefore, the most comfortable thing that I can wear, and mom too, are shorts. And actually here in Argentina, no one really cares what you're wearing. Everything's okay because it's always so hot that we don't care about how it looks. We just care about being cool. So I bought some denim, and I downloaded a pattern, a free pattern from Peppermint magazine called Spring Shorts, and this pattern was designed by Pattern Runway Company, and I picked the size 12, and I think I was between the 12 and the 14, and because the skirt had turned out a bit big, I said, okay, I don't want to really make my clothes so big anymore. I'm going to go for the 12. It turned out that the 12 was like I could pull them up, but they were very tight around my hips, so I really didn't feel comfortable wearing them, and I was heartbroken because I believed that I had made them really well, and now no one would be able to wear them. But look at my beautiful model here. Can we see? So a couple of days later, Mom came to the summer house, and I told her, you know what, Mom, I made these shorts, and Mom is a lot narrower than I am here at the hips. We have a very different body shape, and why don't you try them on? And she tried them on, and they look really, really perfect on her. So
it is comfortable and it is smart.
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
She looks very elegant. They have the perfect length. Sorry, Mom. Like, I don't know if you can see, but there's like a shape here for the leg. And also you have big pockets. You can carry your phone comfortably, and
the keys.
And what I did is I cheated. I still haven't. I made 2 eyelets here that you can see, 2 buttonholes, and I was supposed to thread a cord or a cord made out of the same denim even, but I still haven't done it. So I just threaded the elastic It has an elastic waist, and these haven't been open yet, but I can do that at any moment because you don't need that to wear them as Mom is doing right now. So at least I was not so sad. I was sad that I didn't have my shorts, and I had purchased that blue denim especially to make shorts for me. You probably saw that they were a bit stretched at the seam in the center front and center back, and it's because I pulled them up and they were tight, so that denim, it wasn't a very good quality denim, but the denim stretched out a bit, so the seam is a bit white. And I was sad, and I was like, oh, but I really want to find a pattern that works for me. So the next morning, what I did was...
The next morning, Mom came.
Yes, the next morning Mom came, and I'm going to show you what I did with the pattern. I'm wearing the sample that I made for me, but it's going to be harder to see because they are black. So it's easier to see what I did for Mom. So the one thing that I noticed is that I had no problems pulling the shorts up. So even though they were tight around my hips, I could still put them up easily. So I didn't need to modify the waist, but what I needed to modify was the circumference around my full hip, which is where my hip meets my thighs. So what I did is I used the same pattern, size 12, and then I cut and opened the pattern pieces for the front and the back. But then here in the waist or in the crotch, I took out as much as I added. So I think I added 2.5 centimeters, and I took 2.5 centimeters from the waist. And I sort of drew a curve. I didn't know if I had to take a lot from here, like probably I could have done this, but I wasn't sure. So that's what I did. I just took it and then I drew this curve. Probably it's not the best curve that you've seen for trousers, but it worked, so I'm very happy. So I did this for front and back, and I used size 12. And then as I was sewing them, I realized that actually the waist was a bit loose, and that I could pull them up even if I made them even smaller. So I took in the waist another size. So now the size of the waist is probably size 10, and the size of the trousers is probably size 14 or 16. So these are my shorts that you can see. I don't know if you can see them. They are so black. They are very loose now. They are very comfortable. I tucked my t-shirt in because otherwise you don't really see the shape of the shorts. But they are very, I have chair marks. They are very comfortable now. They are very loose. They are still kind of very loose here, but I don't know that you could actually pull them up if I keep, you know, taking in the fabric. What I'm not super happy about, I have to say, is that they are rather too high for my taste. I suppose I could wear them looser, but then my crotch ends up being too loose, like too low. And probably if I go out for a walk, they will ride up anyway, because then now my crotch, sorry guys that I'm being so explicit. And I noticed that if I fold them down like this, so the whole waist like that, I feel a lot more comfortable. So I think this is like a much better crotch length For me, even if they are not super short, super short-waisted, I think that they are still a much better length for me. So I have to keep exploring with my shorts.
Parece que te hace como globitos acá.
Yes. I'm super happy with this pattern. I'm more than happy to sew this over and over and over again. I have gone out for walks in them. I have been wearing them ever since I finished them. I think that they look smart also, but if I dare in a future version, I might try to shorten them. Probably I'm going to just cut the pattern from the top and then take in the waist a little bit so that it matches the current waistband. So yes, sorry, that was a lot of flesh that you had to see so that I could show you the shorts. I hope that you're okay with that. And then, so those are my finished objects for sewing. And also, last journal I showed you some pieces that I had cut to make a dress, and I told you that I was attempting to make a dress out of 1 meter of this denim fabric, and I succeeded. What I did is, instead of adding both pockets, I just added one. I cut both, and I was going to add them, but then I thought it looked too busy with both pockets. So I just added one, and I hope it doesn't look too weird. I also should say that the pattern calls for more fabric, and one of the reasons is that you need bias binding, and the pattern asks you to make it with your self fabric, but of course I only had 1 meter, so I bought some bias tape, and I did it with store-bought bias tape. And actually, when you're wearing it, you cannot see this white at all. It doesn't show, and it saved me from it really allowed me to make a dress with just 1 meter of fabric, because I didn't have any more than this. And this is, Mom really likes it. I think she wants to keep it, but I'm not going to give this one to you.
Why not?
Because I already gave you a lot of things, and this fits me.
I like it.
I will make you a different one, a new one.
Okay.
And yes, and to finish this journal, I will share with you all the fabrics that I bought when I went to the fabric district. Do you want to... That one leave for the last.
Last?
Yes. So I bought a very thick cotton twill fabric in this mustard. I think this color is good for everyone too. Probably better for blondes, but I really like it. And this is very thick. Actually, the first thing that I thought when I saw this fabric was, oh, that would make a really nice purse or handbag or duffel bag. But then I thought that it could be nice to make a jacket. They only had 2.5 meters. This was a remnant, so I purchased it, and I plan to attempt to make a Wixten Haori or Wixten kimono. I already bought the pattern, and I'm thinking of making the unlined version so that it's not so thick, because the fabric is already very thick.
Sin forma.
Yes. So I paid something like $8 for the whole piece, which was a really good find. But there are some areas where the fabric has some strange lines. So I have to lay out all the pattern pieces and see whether it actually will work or if I'm just going to waste my time, because even though I do it just for fun, I don't care if I get to wear the items or not. I always find someone to give them away to. I still won't bother if the yarn is if the fabric is too damaged. Then I will use it to make like a backpack or a duffel bag or something like that.
Sí, porque inclusive yo pensaba para pantalones se arruga todo, no es para cualquier cosa. ¿No?
Mom says that if you want to make trousers, then it might wrinkle too much. I actually really like that it has this paper-like texture. I think we should print the pattern and make it.
Para el jacket me gusta.
She approves for a jacket. The next thing that I purchased was this wrinkled satin in this sort of it has like a silk look, and it's this beigey colorway, and my plan is to make a dressier tunic shirt thing for the winter sometime, which is going to be very hard because it's so slippery. Then I also purchased fabric to make a summer dress, which I don't know how many times I'm going to wear because we're going away of the country next month to a place where it's going to be winter, so I'm not going to be bringing any summer clothes, so soon I won't be able to wear summer clothes again. But still, I really like this poplin fabric. I like the colors very much, so I want to make like a wrap dress thing. What do you think?
Very nice color.
Then I also purchased, and this I have no idea how or when I'm going to sew, but this is like a rustic cotton jersey, like a sweatshirt material. I don't have a serger, so I will have to learn how to sew knit fabrics on my regular sewing machine, but maybe one day. I just really liked it. I like the color. I think it looks good. And it's like, it has like a brushed look, like this velvety feel. And it's light and stretchy. And it's not too warm. And last,
and now,
I don't know if I will dare to make or wear this, but I had to try. So you know how the latest rage of fashion is velvet, and all of the fashion labels that I follow have been adding velvet items to their collections, especially of course winter collections. So I decided I'm going to try. It looks so shiny now here in the screen, but I bought this gray velvet to make a kind of like a, I don't know, a dress, a tunic, a long t-shirt, like a short dress, long sleeved, to go out. I always say I'm going to make this, oh look, a rainbow.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this dress so that I can wear when we go out, but we don't go out that much. We do go out though, but I wear like tighter clothes, like tight pants, and anyway, I'm just rambling. Maybe one day you'll see me sew this dress and you'll be happy for me. And if you have any pattern ideas of, for a garment that is not too elaborate, so that it doesn't look so dressy. Like, because I think that already the velvet is dressy enough.
Claro.
It has to be something super simple.
No necesita más.
Yes, let me know what your ideas are. Do you have anything else to share with us?
No.
So I want to thank you for still being here after an hour and a half. And most importantly, I want to thank for all the appreciation you've been sending my mother today. And like, I've been posting about her since she arrived, and everyone sends such warm comments for her, that it really means a ton for us. So I hope this distracted you if you were having a sad week, and I hope you'll come back for next journal.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.